Hello, everybody. And we have a small group. I think there's a Christmas party about to go on over out there in California. It is Monday, December 6th, and it is Business Boot Camp. Woo! We're talking about long-term success with the newbies in the group, right? We are talking about building blocks for long-term success. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is I was doing a shared rewards party and looking at how it performed this year over how it performed last year. Um, she said that they're at Christmas party. And I just couldn't believe how many more contacts I had, how much stronger my network was this year over last year. And I started thinking about the people that I look up to in this business, the Sheilas and the Tinas and the Miriams, and how they've had longevity in their businesses and what that means and what it looks like. And I feel like some of the changes that I've made to my business over the past year has started me on that path. And I'm really excited about that. I wasn't thinking about it in terms of, hey, I had great luck with this party. It was more about, wow, I had so many more people to reach out to than I did a year ago. And that's sort of like puts you on the path toward long-term success. And having a business that is really building upon itself so that years down the road you can have something different than what it is today, but something stronger, and it's a trajectory going upwards, just consistent upward trends. So first of all, defining what long-term success looks like, and that's a little piece of it. But also when you can weather the ups and downs of the economy, the ups and downs of your life, the ups and downs of the people's lives around you, of your team. It's really being able to weather the storms, ride the highs and ride the lows at the same time. Also creating a network of guests and hosts for yourself. Aubrey says, my sales are tripled from what they were all of December last year, and it's only the 6th. Woohoo! See, and that's me too. I've typically had a really rough holiday season, and I tried to sort of stay away from parties at the end of November and into December because in my 3-year history, they haven't done well for me. But I think that now that I'm starting to build a stronger business, that is changing. And so it is important. So you're creating a network of guests and hosts. You're investing in them and they're investing in you. So you have this like two-way relationship with them. And you can grow your business and your customer base is reacting to any calls for action that you put out there. So if I send out a message, a customer connection email, CCE, and I say, hey, I'm having this great party, you can get a discount. And I'm seeing so many more people writing back to me, so many more people responding to that call for action. And I didn't have that before. And that's something that I was always a little jealous of with Tina and Miriam, because they would put out that same type of call and people would respond. And so now that my business is getting stronger, I'm noticing that that's the case more. So just a couple of little statistics for you. I thought this was interesting. I saw in a study, and this was just this year, so it was not like years and years ago, for direct sales businesses, 14% of the people that were in direct sales businesses made less than $5,000 a year. 6%, so that's 14%, 6%. I wonder where the rest of them are. This said 6% made between, I didn't recognize this, 6% made between 5,000 and 10,000 a year. 3% made between 10,000 and 25,000, and then 3% made 25,000 or more. 0.05% made 100,000 or more. So that doesn't equal 100. So I don't know where the rest of them went, but they went somewhere. They probably weren't in it for a full year. But the point that I wanted to look at is, what does a strong business say to you? It's a consistent income. And that to me would say about, $2,000 a month or so, maybe $1,000 to $2,000 or $2,000 or more would be a really consistent income. And so that total would be about 6% of all the people in the direct sales businesses that they looked at. And so that seems pretty consistent with our business too. It's a very small percentage. And why is that? I think a lot of people are not looking at the long term. They're not trying to build that long term, that, future goal. They're dropping out. And if you don't have your eyes fixed on what your business is going to become, it's a lot easier to say, oh, forget it, I give up. If you have that long-term goal in place, if you're working towards something, and you do have that ability to ride the highs and lows, you're going to stay in there. And because our business is what it is, our company is what it is, you will have that success, that monthly income. So looking at the building blocks for what a long-term successful business looks like, number one, we're in the relationship business. So relationships, we have to learn to bring those in-party connections that you get with people to the online business. So I look at Tina and Miriam, and I was giving this some thought, and it's not just that they go to one cooking show and build they spend a couple hours with somebody, and that's it. Typically, look at their host. Typically, they go to a party and they're connecting with people, when they were doing in-person parties, and they made a connection with somebody, and then that person decided to host. And then that was another cooking party. So there's 2 nights, right? And then you're always trying to get 3 bookings off of every party. So they spend at least a couple more nights in person with them. So you're looking at many, several hours in person connecting with their customers. And that would, I would think, be pretty typical. So they're spending, let's say, an average of like 3 nights together with each host. And that's really forming a relationship. There's a loyalty involved with that. So we have to foster that as many of us are doing strictly online businesses, especially right now. We need to create those relationships. We need to send the Christmas cards out to people. I'm going to be sending out Christmas cards to my hosts. I actually was thinking of sending Christmas cards out to like my top 10 customers, top 10 ordering guests or top 20 ordering guests. I'm probably going to do a top 5 or top 10 hosts and give them a little gift card in there. Another idea I had that I've started doing is like a check-in list in my planner of people that I'd like to follow up with about like get well contacts, people that said, oh, I'm having surgery in a week, or I'm having surgery next month, like a PC gift. No, I was thinking like a Starbucks gift card. Because or a Dunkin' Donuts. Who doesn't like donuts? They might not like donuts, but they're no friend of mine if they don't. But yeah, what about starting a list of people that you want to follow up with because they said they were sick, or they had surgery, or they lost a loved one? That's just a way to connect with people. Another idea for another building block to a strong business is branding. Aubrey, I think you're good at this. Being active on social media. I am guilty of not being great at posting consistently and not posting on the different social media outlets. But if you're concerned, or if you want to learn more about branding, there is a great Teach Me webinar that talks all about branding. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I watched it. It was from several months ago, but it was all about what branding looks like and how to create a strong brand. And basically, if you think of any 24/7, you can, that's so funny. Yes, Pampered Chef is your life, right? So you want to look at somebody that is out there in social media, a Rachel Hollis, or who else is somebody big? Half-Baked Harvest, and anybody that has a strong showing. What about somebody like Martha Stewart, who got sent to prison and she still has a strong brand? Come on.
You made her stronger.
Right, seriously. Yeah, she's got the street cred now. So look at the people that you watch. Look at the people you follow. What makes them a strong brand? What are they putting out there? Look at the people in our business, the Stacy Itzels, or the national executive directors, and look at their pages. You can go onto their Instagram, Claudia Bazaar, whoever whoever inspires you, look at their Instagram and see what they're doing to create a brand for themselves. Another thing, actually, talking a little more about that, is knowing your vision. And I don't just mean your vision for your team, but knowing what you want your business, like what you want, the things you put out there, what you want them to look like, what you want to put out there to people. So in other words, knowing your customer, knowing what you're selling. Are you just selling Pampered Chef products? I mean, if you're just selling Pampered Chef products, they can get stuff like that on Amazon, right? I mean, yes, we love our products, but you're really selling the party experience. You're selling, giving people recipes and dinner time solutions. You're selling you as a consultant and your knowledge and your desire to help them, your desire to help hosts get a lot of stuff for free, get stuff into their kitchen when they wouldn't be able to. Like, that's what we're selling. They can go to Target and get kitchen stuff, but we're selling something a little bit different. We're selling the whole experience, the whole package. So in addition to, I've got something in my eye. In addition to the relationship building and the branding, you want to be a student of your business. This is huge, and you guys are here, so you are obviously a student of your business because you're here wanting to learn new things. And it's not always about just learning, it's about being inspired too, right? I know that the times that I have been the lowest in my business, the times that I've struggled the most, the way I picked myself up out of it, it was going and listening to people that I admire doing a training. So I would find Sharon Zellin, I would find Steve Drapowski, I would find, now an Emily Kerrigan or Michaela Wyatt. It's people that I admire in this business who are doing the thing, who are going to give me some new ideas, who are going to inspire and motivate me to do something new in my business. And yes, I could pick up on a piece of, a little training nugget, a little knowledge nugget, but it was even more than the skills. It was the motivation and the inspiration. So look for trainings, look for the place where you feel like you're struggling. Are you struggling to get bookings? Go find some trainings on bookings. They're everywhere. Are you struggling on recruiting? Million of those. Are you struggling on organization and time management? Yes. Yes. If you are having a weakness, if you have a weakness in an area, go learn about, figure out everything you can learn about that. That's what I did with bookings. When I first started, I felt like I was really struggling to get bookings. And I went and looked up training upon training upon training about bookings. And I got so many great ideas. Not only are those ideas great, it teaches you how to come up with new ideas, right? When you listen to ideas of others. Don't neglect professional development. If we're talking about being a student of a business, don't forget your professional development. Look for people that are teaching outside this business on organization, on leadership, on self-confidence, on motivation. Look for the Rachel Hollises, the John Maxwells, the It Girl. Oh my gosh, forget her name. Jamie something. I can't remember her name. Jamie something. The It Girl. Look for people who have had success and listen to podcasts, read books. It doesn't necessarily just have to be Pampered Chef. And this is something that has stuck with me that Rachel Hollis said. Now, Rachel Hollis, when I first started, a whole group of us here in Nashville went to see her movie. I don't know if any of you watched that, but she had it's sort of like a behind the scenes at her live events, and it was called Made for More. I loved it. I watched it twice. I actually went looking for it recently to see if it was still on Prime, and I couldn't find it, but it was amazing. And it was just talking about how you have to realize that you were made for more than where you are right now. If you're struggling, if you're feeling stuck, then you have to realize that you're the one who can unstick you. Nobody else is going to get you unstuck. That changed me. The person I was before that night and the person I became after that night are two different people, and both, in this business and also personally, it was just amazing. So find people that speak to you and where you are. And the last thing I'm going to say about being a student of your business and just don't stop learning is also to know your data. Know how many people, write down who you're contacting, write everything down. How many contacts are you making in a day, in a week? How many bookings is that turning into for you? How does that look month over month? Are you growing that? Are you getting better? Are you getting worse? What are your average sales in your parties per party? And if you don't know where to find that, ask me, ask your director. Knowing those numbers is how you can keep track of how you're doing. My average sales per party has gone up tremendously compared to where it was like a year or two ago. So I think I used to be at about 550 or 570, something like that, not even 600. And I think last time I figured it out, and this is even with flop parties, because you have some of those, but even with the flop parties, or the ones, that did nothing, which I feel like you should drop your high and your low like you're in school, no, just drop the low, not your high. But it was like, I think it was like 760 or something like that the last time I figured it out. So know your numbers and know if you're growing, and if you need to improve somewhere. Okay, any questions before I keep going? I'm just like, any like experiences that you want to share, just yell, stop, if you want to share something, okay? The next thing I'll talk about is consistency. Consistently working your business, consistently treating your business like a business. If you're not showing up to work, if you're not showing up to work this business, you're not going to be paid like a business. So you want to make sure you show up for work, right? So that you can get paid, and also create momentum, not just consistency, but if you feel like Aubrey, you said you just booked 9 parties today. That's momentum. So ride that momentum, doing all the things all of the time. Yes, doing all of the things, not just doing, that sounds like Aubrey, right? Not just doing some of the things all the time, not doing all the things some of the time. You have to do all of the things all of the time. If your business isn't where you want it to be, chances are you're not doing all the things all the time. I'm guilty of that too. But ride the momentum, create that momentum, create that. It just takes sitting down and, like you said, doing all the things to get that momentum started, and then just keep it going, right? It's harder, just like anything, it's harder to get something going from nothing, to get something moving, than it is to keep it moving. So, so create that momentum and ride it. On that note, another building block for success would be systems. And I've said a lot, okay, find the places in your business that take up a lot of your time, or the top 3 things you hate doing in your business, and create a system for them. I know that was something huge with me, was host coaching, used to take up a lot of time, for example. If you don't have a system in place, your host coaching, it doesn't take a lot of time, or you don't do it.
It doesn't take a lot of time no more. I put that stuff on Project Broadcast.
Yeah. See, I don't use Project Broadcast for it because I'm too wordy. I need to work on my words, but I'm working on it. I need to just cut down my words and work on that.
I would constantly forget. And so then I'd be like, oh crap, I was supposed to send this 2 days ago. This poor host.
I
so
know,
ever since I put it on yes,
it's
ever since I
important.
put on Project Broadcast, it's been so much better. And my customer follow-up that's on there, so much better. Because I'll just be sitting here, and like today I started getting a bunch of texts, and I'm like, oh, message must have went out.
That is a system. That's what we call a system.
Nice.
And that's huge, because not only are you finding ways to tackle the issues and, you know, the weaknesses you had in your business, but you're also creating new business where you wouldn't have had it before. Would you have reached out to those people the same way you did with that project broadcast? No. And that brings me to my next point, good lead-in, is making your business scalable. So you have 24 hours in a day and you got to sleep. So that reduces that a little bit, right? And you can't increase the amount of hours in your day. And so you need to make the most of the hours that you have. And if you're making your business scalable, as you grow your business, you're finding efficiencies so that you can, you know, create more time, sort of, with what you have, with the time you have. You're making better use of your time. You're becoming more efficient, and that's how you make your business more scalable. And so you don't get burned out, right? You know, letting Project Broadcast be our assistant is a great way to not get burnt out sending messages all the time. And you know what tends to happen a lot of times when we're sending messages, this is just a side note, a lot of times we're like, oh, I don't want to message that person, I just did, or I don't want to bother them. If it's Project Broadcast, it's an equal opportunity message sender. We can take our emotion out of it because Project Broadcast has no emotion. So yay. Which brings me, you know, to the next one, which is positive attitude. I'm almost done, I promise. Positive attitude. Enough said, right? Like, if you don't have a good attitude about your business, will you succeed? Probably not, because you're not going to, what we say, stay above the line. I know that phrase has been thrown out there over and over, but it's so true. If you let every challenge throw you completely off course, you will not stay the course of your business. So you need to take all of those challenges and say, okay, what am I going to learn from this one? You know, okay, how am I going to change my business and make it better? Look at all the people who were doing cooking parties until March of 2020. There were lots and lots of people. If you think you can or think you can't, you are right. That is exactly right, Dawn. And look at all of the people who said, oh, I can't do virtual parties. Guess what? You're doing virtual parties. And look at how much their businesses have grown with that challenge that was put in front of them. Look at how much, I don't know if you guys were there when, with all of the shipping challenges of last year, look at how Pampered Chef reacted to the shipping challenges. It was like 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 8 or 9 weeks and like so many of the products were not there. Well, what did Pampered Chef do? They took that and they pivoted and they decided, okay, we're not going to let that happen again. And they made changes to their business. And now look at us, boom, we're one of the few companies out there that is really hanging in there with shipping times a couple days. I mean, that's crazy at this time. And, you know, and our products, you know, 99% of our products are there. So it's just about taking those challenges and turning them into something that's going to help establish your business better and grow you too. The other thing, so your mindset does matter. And with that said, comparison. So that is a huge part of your mindset. One of the things that used to plague me the most, I mean, I still fight it sometimes, but not nearly as much, is comparing my business to anybody else's business. My business is my business, their business is their business. You know, I was comparing myself to Tina and Miriam and their businesses. They've been doing it a long time and my business doesn't look the same as theirs. I was newer. I had to, you know, you look at, if you have a new consultant and they're looking at the other new consultant on your team, then if they're looking at each other, they're not looking at their own stuff. So that comparison is the thief of joy, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. So make sure you just have your blinders on if you need to. Look to others for inspiration, but not for comparison. And also your belief when it comes to your positive attitude. Your belief matters. If you believe in our company, in our product, and in yourself, then it will do worlds for your business. If you believe that we have a company that supports its consultants, if you believe our product is something people want, and our salespeople want to have parties with us, and I can do it, I can stay in there and do it, then that's going to mean a much more successful business, which brings me to the next part. So your belief leads into your determination. And this is the last building block that I'll talk about. Your determination, that never give up attitude. You have to always look for and find the creative solution to every problem, right? If you find that you're not getting bookings, do something different to get bookings. Don't keep doing the same thing, right? Not every idea that you come up with will lead to success, but constantly looking for new ideas will. If you stop looking for solutions to the problems, then you can bet that your business is going to become a little tougher for you, because we have to roll with it. We have to be creative. We have to come up with new ideas. We have to also expect to fail. We have to expect the no. We can't think, oh, well, I'm going to get every yes. Everybody I contact is going to say yes. We have to expect the no. We have to expect to fail. So we need to, as Rachel Hollis said, give yourself the gift of sucking.
Hold up. I
Yes.
reached out to like almost 400 people today, and I got 9 bookings.
And how many of those are you going to be able to follow up with later? And how many of those are you going to be able to, go back to? But yes, as she said, give yourself the gift of sucking, which I loved. And the other quote that I found that I love this visual. It's a Dave Ramsey quote. It says, success is a pile of failures you're standing on. So if you imagine that, you're standing on this heap, a pile of failures. So everybody who is a success in this business will tell you that they did that. They built that business, that long-term business, by having a bunch of failures, but climbing right up on top of them and owning those failures, learning from those failures, and changing the way they do their business to react to those failures. And another part of determination is being flexible. So if, I mentioned, if you're going along one path and it's not working, to pivot and go the other, go another way. That's, I feel like, what Pampered Chef has done a lot. That's what I've had to do in my business a lot. But always examine your why too. Keep your why in front of you. Know why you're doing this business. And that's going to change. So you want to be flexible with that. The reason I joined is not the reason I'm staying. What my life looked like before is not necessarily what my life looks like now. Now I'm relying on this business for income. I'm relying on this business to support my family. And I didn't have to do that before. So do you think I'm going to need to change the way I do my business a little bit because I'm relying on it for income? Of course I am. It's going to look a little bit different. But what's the alternative? The alternative is me going out and getting a job in retail or something like that, leaving my kids in some kind of, childcare when they get out of school. What is the alternative? I'm going to put everything I can into this business and work smarter, not harder. Well, okay, work harder too, but work smarter. Use that time that I've finally found now that my littlest is in kindergarten. Use the time that I have to grow my business and let it change and evolve and find new ways to, to get the results that I want. And the last thing I'll say is, I love this quote, John Maxwell, who is a great person to listen to if you're looking for inspiration or leadership or just, business motivation. He said, change is inevitable, but growth is optional. So we have to learn to roll with the change and adjust our businesses. But at the end, we're going to wind up with a business. It might look different from where we started, but it's going to be stronger, and it's going to be something that we can hang on to and work for a very long time. So that's all I have. Do you guys have anything to add or any questions? Nope. Oh, I'm looking at the comments. Oh yeah, I read that one already. Did I miss any? Yes, Martha Stewart does work with Snoop Dogg. Anything else that you guys want to say about that? Won't you guys love to have a business that is like standing the test of time and like that solid long-term like personal business, I know I would.
Well, it was funny because Sheila was just telling me today, I was texting Sheila, and the other day in the director call or whatever, we talked about how Sheila's very first vacation was Texas, and Miriam's first vacation was Texas, and everybody's first vacation was Texas. And then I told Sheila, I said, yeah, I said, well, at least I'm in business until April because I have bookings until April. And she says, that's so funny because I used to say that. I say that all the time. And I'm like, well, I must be on a good track then because my first trip's Texas and I'm saying the same stuff Sheila does.
You know, that's true.
Here's
And
28 plus years.
well, and it's so true. And, you know, it's taking it piece by piece. It's not always looking like at everything all at once. You sometimes just have to break it down day by day, month by month, year by, you know, just little pieces. And just like say, okay, I've got business until April because I'm doing parties. And, you know, I sometimes look at my calendar and I'm like, oh, I don't have any parties. You know, that's really bad. But I have to, it's when I sit down and do the work and then I realize, okay, if my party schedule doesn't look like what I want it to look like, okay, now what? I think that would be my catchphrase. Now what? Like, you know, it doesn't look how I want. Okay, now what? What are you going to do about it? You know, if I could sit there and complain and say, oh, I don't have any parties, or I can say, I better sit down and get 30 contacts a day, 50 contacts, you know, the first day, maybe to jumpstart it. Like, do the thing, you know, that's what it takes. It's a determination. And, you know, if you don't have the parties that you want, why stop? You know, like, why say, oh, well, I just messaged 5 people, I'm good. No, message as many people, know how many parties you want and keep messaging people, have a plan, because, you know, that's how you get there. So yeah, I'm a big believer in that too. And look at your victories too. I think that we don't like give ourselves enough grace. You know, we need to see our victories. Aubrey, you just earned the trip in your first full year, right? And you earned the trip in your first full year, and that's big. Like, celebrate that and realize, okay, next year I want to earn the trip and excellence award. Okay, next year I want to do this. You know, have those things that you're working for, you know, and know how to get there and make that plan. So anyway, yay.
Well, hold on. We were just talking in the other call. I don't know if you said this while I was doing my kids, but we were just talking about when you want a vacation or something, like literally set the goal. Like, I know in my head that if I want level 2 vacation, if it's $90,000, I have to sell $6,500 a month if I don't recruit anybody. If I recruit one qualified, I have to sell $3,500 a month. So like really, really set the goal so you know, hey, this is what I got to reach by the last day.
Right.
Because that's what really helped me. It probably wasn't January last year when I started that, but I was like, okay, I want to earn a vacation. So I did the math of many months I had left and my director points and tried to figure out exactly how much I needed to get a vacation. And now I'm like, I'm going to be about, just this month so far, I'm almost 10,000 above that vacation. So I didn't think I was going to make it, and I'm 10,000 above. So
see, and that's it's a huge deal. And that's what I did too. When I decided that I wanted to just see if I could go for Disney, you know, because we had never been there. And that was a huge moment for my business, is when I decided to go for Disney. And I did the same thing. I figured out, okay, well, how much would I need to do? Well, how many if I recruited? And that's what did it. You know, why you don't want to wait until October to do that. You want to do it early, so that you can see what it would take. And honestly, we're the only limiting factor on whether we get this trip or whether we get any trip at all is us. You know, it's really just up to us. And so when you decide that you want to go for the level 1 trip or the level 2 trip, you just have to decide to do it. And so, you know, I could go for the level 2 elite and decide, all right, I need to promote this many leaders. You know, think of how many that would be, you know, not just recruiting points, but leader points. So, it's really just up to us what we want to do with our business. So, but congratulations
Aubrey,
on that.
Aubrey,
that,
didn't
Dawn?
you just have like your highest personal sales month too?
Yeah, it's like $6,026 or something.
You know what?
So
Well, okay, June of 2020 was my highest ever. It was crazy. Like I was doing, 10 to 12 parties a month or something. And then in June of 2020, I literally went in, this is my favorite story because going into Memorial Day weekend, so we were going to Gatlinburg and renting a cabin for me and the kids, like over Memorial Day. And because it was, everybody was quarantined in May 2020. And I had no parties scheduled for June. Double host rewards, no parties scheduled. So I went on my own booking blitz. I was like, I got to just reach out to 30 people a day or whatever it was. And people just started saying yes like crazy. And then that's when I started following up with people that did not write back at all. That was when I first started doing that. I wound up that month with like 22 parties. 22 parties. And that was also when I started direct ship in the pilot program. And it was a mess. it was a horrible, but it was my bet. I had $13,000 in sales. I'd never, 13,000 in sales. My paycheck was, I think, $7,000 for a month. It was crazy. It was insane. I think it was $7,000. That can't be. No, it can't be. It had to be like, what?
So that was last year?
Last year, yeah, 2020. It could not. No, it had to be like 4,000. Surely it wasn't that. It must, it couldn't have been, it must have been 4,000. Sorry. It was not 7,000. It was 4,000. I think it was 7,000 in 2 months. I think that's what it was.
So you sold 13,000 in personal sales. And how many years were you in the business?
Well, that again, don't you compare. Don't go compare.
I'm gonna try to get there.
Well, and that was the middle of COVID too. So, that's a little different, but it was crazy. Everybody, the best month that they ever had, at least up until that point, I don't know the stats since then, but up to that point, the highest month they ever had was May 2020. Not Thanksgiving, not November. It was May 2020. And they were like, they had no clue that during COVID, everybody was going to run out and buy Pampered Chef. Like, that's why they ran out of everything, because they're like, what the heck happened? That nobody knew in the beginning, like, of this crazy global pandemic, that everybody's like, I need Pampered Chef. And so let's see, I had started the very end of September 2018. So that was a year and a half later. Year and a half? Something like that. Because that's what you asked me. So, but it was crazy. So
year and a half, I'm close. I'm halfway there. I mean, I'm at my 1 year, 2 month mark, or technically 1 year, 1 month mark, and I sold 6,000. So
yeah, there you go. See?
I got 5 months to go to try.
January is typically one of my highest months, because when you're excited about the business, you're gonna, do more. I mean, I get really excited about the January special. And so I book it just like June. I book parties like crazy because I love it. Like, I love to get my host all that free stuff. And so and in January, people are so into, eating healthy. So I love January parties. So I go crazy, trying to book parties. So we'll see if that happens this year. Anyway, well, we're way over. So because of our chatting. But it was good to talk to you ladies. Thank you for being here on my BBC. I'm so glad you joined me. It was a nice little intimate party we had.
It's funny because when there's only 3, it's usually me and Dawn and the freaking talker.
What does that say?
We're in our business. We're not partying Christmas. I wish I was in California partying because it was Christmas.
I know. Come to our party.
When's your party?
Next Monday.
On a Monday.
Yeah, gotta have it on a Monday.
I'll be in Mexico. Sorry.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
no,
you're right.
Not. No,
you're right.
Not. Don't lie.
I'm gonna be on a beach.
Oh my
You're
goodness.
not going to be taken by any strange people. None.
No, I'm too old for that.
Well, I'm going to stop the recording at least. So thank you for joining.